In this podcast episode, Andrew Huberman delves into the intricate relationship between motivation, pleasure, reward, and the underlying neurochemistry that governs these experiences. This discussion is particularly relevant as motivation plays a crucial role in our daily lives, influencing our ability to pursue both short-term and long-term goals. At the heart of motivation lies dopamine, a neurotransmitter that is pivotal not only for our sense of pleasure, but also for our drive to take action. Dopamine is released in response to anticipation and craving, rather than just the experience of pleasure itself. Huberman explains that dopamine is released at a baseline rate when we are at rest, but this rate significantly increases when we anticipate something rewarding. This anticipatory release of dopamine is what propels us toward our goals, whether they are as simple as enjoying a cup of coffee or as significant as preparing for a major life event. The reward pathway in the brain, particularly the interaction between the ventral tegmental area, VTA, and the nucleus accumbens, is central to understanding how motivation works. The VTA releases dopamine, which then influences the nucleus accumbens, effectively acting as an accelerator for our desire to engage in various activities. However, the prefrontal cortex serves as a brake on this system, regulating when and how much dopamine is released. This balance between the reward pathway and the prefrontal cortex is essential for maintaining motivation without succumbing to impulsivity. Huberman emphasizes that motivation is fundamentally a two-part process involving the balance of pleasure and pain. When we engage in activities that we enjoy, dopamine levels rise, creating a sense of pleasure. However, this pleasure is often accompanied by a subsequent craving or pain, which can lead to a cycle of seeking more of the pleasurable experience to alleviate the discomfort of craving. This dynamic is particularly evident in addictive behaviors, where the initial pleasure diminishes over time while the craving intensifies. The concept of craving is crucial in understanding addiction and motivation. For instance, substances like cocaine and amphetamines can cause a massive release of dopamine, leading to intense pleasure initially, but this is often followed by increased cravings and a diminished capacity to experience pleasure from the same activity over time. Huberman notes that this cycle can create a feedback loop where individuals continue to seek out the substance or behavior to alleviate the pain of craving, rather than to experience pleasure. In contrast to dopamine, which drives us toward future rewards, serotonin is described as the here and now molecule. It promotes feelings of contentment and satisfaction with our current experiences. Huberman explains that a healthy emotional landscape requires a balance between these two systems. While dopamine encourages us to pursue external goals, serotonin helps us appreciate and enjoy what we already have. Mindfulness practices, such as focusing on the sensory experience of eating a single almond, can help shift our attention from the dopamine-driven pursuit of future rewards to the enjoyment of present experiences. This shift can enhance our overall sense of well-being and satisfaction. Huberman discusses practical strategies for increasing motivation and drive. One key approach is to understand the concept of a dopamine schedule. This involves managing the timing and frequency of rewards to maintain motivation without leading to burnout. For example, intermittent reinforcement, rewarding oneself unpredictably rather than on a fixed schedule, can keep motivation high and prevent the diminishing returns associated with consistent rewards. Additionally, Huberman highlights the importance of cognitive strategies in regulating motivation. By consciously extending the positive feelings associated with achievements and milestones, individuals can enhance their overall sense of satisfaction and motivation. This can be achieved by reflecting on the enjoyment of past successes rather than immediately seeking the next goal. An intriguing aspect of motivation discussed in the podcast is the role of expectation. Huberman references a study where college students were given either caffeine or a placebo, with some believing they were receiving a more potent stimulant, Adderall. The students who expected to receive Adderall reported heightened motivation and cognitive performance, despite only consuming caffeine. This illustrates how our expectations can significantly influence our experiences of motivation and pleasure.